What's going on at MBL Network? We are live, episode number 4, MBL 360 podcast here on the MBL Network, twitch.tv/MBL Network. If you're interested in joining, check us out on Twitter, on X, at The Bomber League. As you can find a link there in one of our pinned messages or one of our highlights. You can check it out and find the application page. Also, Neon Sports, and that's sportswithaz.com/leagues/MBL. Hit that rules tab there on the left. Check out the rules, and you see a join page as well. An option to join the league, and we'll go over that actually right now. So you go over here to the rules page. You're going to click the rules page. You'll see click here, rules page, click here, application. Go to the rules page first. You'll pull it up on this site, and it'll tell you all the rules. Then you go back, put in your application here. Easy peasy. And that's how you would submit your application for the MBL if you're interested in doing that. If you're a fan just listening around and checking out the show, appreciate you guys stopping by and checking us out. This is the 360 podcast on the MBL Network, and I'm joined alongside, as always, my host, Quibble, and we have an exciting show for you today. Let me know how... my mic just kind of messed up a little bit. Let me know how it looks and sounds in the chat, guys. I see JB's in the building, Flair's in the building, ISO's in the building. If the audio sounds good, you should be able to hear some background music. Let me know if I need to turn that up or down. Quibble, it's Thursday night, and we're doing a MBL 360. Didn't get to do one yesterday, usually on Wednesdays, but we're here on Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is our time to do this podcast, and it's getting a little exciting here, MBL Season 58. Tell me your first initial thoughts of the first 4 weeks so far. Anything just jumping out at you before we get into the hot topics? Anything that maybe came to your mind after we kind of went over how we were going to digest and do this show? Or you want to jump right in it?
We could just jump right in it, I think. That's
all right,
the way to
let's jump right in. First things first, Chargers lose. Finally, the undefeated Los Angeles Chargers, the team with Justin Herbert, our MVP from MBL Season 57, Super Bowl champions. Going to have a Super Bowl trophy soon. Waiting on an isolated to send the message back to the Proofs team. We're getting our logo on there. It's going to be a bad trophy. What do you think about that trophy? I mean, what do you think? This is going to be a nice trophy. This is going to be a good prize, right, Quibble? Is that the
I haven't seen the trophy, but it's well-deserved.
And we're going to have the logo. Our logo is going to be on there. It's going to be a nice, heavy, about 15 inches. Pause. And
no diddy.
It should be something worth winning. About $100 to $130 value on the trophy. Going to give about 6 to 8 of those away, depending on how long the cycle is. So good things. But the Chargers lose. What happened? What's going on with the Chargers this season? Because it has to be Operation Ring the Bell, because this is a team that won how many in a row? All the way through the playoffs. First real undefeated season. First one ever to do it at the beginning of a cycle. MBL Season 57, ran through everybody, won the championship, defeated the Vikings in the Super Bowl, took a loss this season to the none other Houston Texans. I saw that division on their schedule, and I thought we might see another undefeated season, but not so. Chargers now currently sitting at 4-1. Give your thoughts on that Chargers loss.
Yeah, finally they lose. Hopefully we don't have to talk about them every single podcast now. But yeah, they lost. The big thing that they pretty much struggled with is running the ball. Keaton Mitchell, Mr. All-World, 37 yards on 9 carries. Herbert had an excellent game, but you need a running game in order to really win versus the top teams in the league.
Yeah, that was a week 3, and Texans are currently 4-0. Shout out to CJ Stroud. He put up a 4-touchdown, 1 interception game, 131 quarterback rating, and even Justin Herbert, as great as he's been, and you think, Justin Herbert plays good, they're going to win, and I think you're right. It's more about the running game for this team. Herbert was 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, had a better QBR than CJ Stroud, but Keaton Mitchell, 9 carries, 37 yards, only 4.1 yards per carry, a long of just 11. Usually you see him break one big, but Keaton Mitchell's been up there about 6 to 10 yards per carry per game, right? And when you kind of knock it down to 4, maybe you got yourself a chance. And also, let's take a look at the third down conversions, third down efficiency for the Chargers. They were 3 of 5 that game, but interceptions thrown went to the Chargers as well. But you just look, it's the running game. It's just the running game. It came down to that. As simple as that. You stop the run, you come away with the dub. And that's what the Houston Texans
Well,
did.
I don't even think it was just a run too. Looking at the stats, I didn't get to watch the full game. I did see a little bits and pieces of it. That Houston defense was really just wrapping up. They kind of limited a lot of the yak. That's the big thing for the Chargers. They get their guys open in space and they make a move, and it's a big game.
That's a good point you bring that up, because the yards after catch at the wide receiver position, even for Ladd McConkey, Drake London, way down from last year. I mean, these guys were almost hitting double digits yards after the catch. So that was putting them at 23 yards per catch, because they're getting 10 to 12 in the air and another 10 to 12 on the ground. That's a great point. Not as many yards after the catch, not as many yards from the halfback position. That kind of piled up on the Chargers. They still only lost by 7, 36-29. But, man, Houston has been a diamond a diamond in the rough here this season. Didn't expect them to jump out like this, but sitting at 4-0. Let's go ahead and move on. Let everybody know in the chat we are live. Appreciate all the viewers watching us right now. Let's move on to our next topic. Rookie sensation quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Maybe a little late. Should have done this yesterday. Carolina takes a loss last week. They're going to play the very tough Seattle Seahawks. They're on a bounce back right now. Seattle's sitting at 3-1. They're going to take on the Carolina Panthers. Carolina was undefeated until last week. How do you feel about this quarterback? We're talking about John Peterson, starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, and their backup quarterback, Adam Davidson. That tells me one thing. They're all in, dug in with John Peterson, the 22-year-old out of Oklahoma, the Sooner Boomer. He's 6'1", 228, and he was playing good. And he had some nice game logs to start this season off. They had a win against Tampa, 31-20, 34-24 versus the San Francisco 49ers. And then another big victory against the Saints. They only gave up 10 points, 34-10. And during those games, he was 10 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Plays a tough, formidable number 1 in the NFC last season, the Philadelphia Eagles. They finally get their revenge on the Carolina Panthers. They defeat them 41-18. And our Carolina Panthers, led by John Peterson, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. QB rating finally under 143 this season, and it was 89.1. What are your thoughts on this quarterback play from John Peterson? This was the 16th pick in the 5th round.
Yeah, you're a walking stat machine. But yeah, him being a 5th round pick is huge.
I'm sitting down, Quibble. I'm not walking, okay? I'm on the chair stat machine.
The chair stat machine.
Yeah, I'm a chair stat machine. There we go.
Well, regardless, he's doing exactly what the Carolina Panthers want him to do. The defense is supporting him enough, and they're getting the wins. That's ultimately what you want from a rookie quarterback. He's only thrown 3 picks, and that was really the game versus Philly. And they went to Philly too, so it's not like he was home and he was like comfortable. I mean, he started his first game at home.
Yeah.
But the other 3 have been away, so.
So finally on a 3-game road streak, you finally get a crack in the quarterback. He does play a very tough defense. You got Darius Slay over there. You got Cooper DeJean over there. You got some cornerbacks that can make plays, right? This isn't an easy walk in the park. And even in the San Francisco game, that wasn't necessarily an easy game, but completion percentages have been over 70 outside of this Philly game. But San Francisco, into that game, it was really a 3-point game. Hit a little play action deep pass at the end to make it a 10-point game. So he's been in some close games and came away with some wins. That's good for the young rookie, but most importantly, he's taking care of the ball for the most part. He's going to be dangerous. How do you see this Carolina Panthers team kind of finding their way this season? How do you see it ending for them? How many wins? Are they playoff bound? Do they win this division? What do you think about Carolina? They repeat
the division? Did they win last year, or was it the Falcons?
Oh, I think it was Atlanta. You're right.
Yeah, I think Atlanta ended up winning with their rookie sensation Penix. I think this year it's a toss up again. It's going to be who wins the division games. Right now, I think Carolina's ahead. I think they're 3-1, 4-1, and I think Atlanta's dropped 2 already. So I'd give it to Carolina just to be front running.
Definitely a 2-man division in the NFC South. We'll take a look at that right here. The NFC South, 3-1 Carolina Panthers, 3-1 Atlanta Falcons. And let me know how it looks and sounds in chat, guys. You should be able to hear the background music this week. We've had some problems with it not showing up as loud as I thought. So let me know how it looks and sounds. We're going to move forward. John Peterson, Carolina. That's the guy you want to watch in the NFC. Is he your favorite for Rookie of the Year?
Easily. He's got to be.
That's who we got right now. All right, let's move forward. And has Joe Milton, Los Angeles Rams. What the heck is going on with Joe Milton? He's outplaying Matt Stafford from last season. Same offense, kind of same wide receiver personnel group. What's different, and why is Joe Milton looking so good?
I think he just finally got out of New England. He was behind Drake May, had an opportunity to learn, sit, not getting any bad habits. He started off with a bang versus the Colts. Pretty much had a perfect game. I think he had one interception. I think it went off the defender. So it's not really on him. He's scoring a lot of points, touchdown wise. Just the defense needs to kind of give him some help.
Another 6th-round pick. This guy went 2 picks after John Peterson went. Peterson went from Oklahoma, starting quarterback. He falls to the 6th round, 15th pick. Joe Milton, he was a 6th-round pick a season ago, and he went 17th in the 6th round. He's out of Tennessee, the Volunteer here, and he's kind of similar to Peterson now that he's getting a start. Just look at the numbers here that we got on the board. That 3rd week against San Francisco, that was kind of his down week. That was his Carolina-Philadelphia Eagle game, right? They only scored 9
I don't
points.
think that's as much on him though. It's a ball control offense for San Francisco, and really he got sacked 4 times. I don't think he had that much time. He was running for his life. He had to run the ball 5 times himself.
That's true. That is a little bit different than what we've seen. But he bounced back against New Orleans. It seems like everybody's bouncing back versus New Orleans. This game on the road, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, QBR 120. He's posted a 5-touchdown, 1 interception game and a loss 49-43 to Houston. So yeah, and 49-43 victory against Indianapolis. But you play that division in the AFC, that Colts, that Texans division, right? That Jaguars division. It is a shoot 'em out game, right? It's going to be high scoring. It's going to be fun to watch. If you have an opportunity to flip your TV on and catch one of those games, I don't care who they're playing. As long as the other team can put up some points, it's going to be a roller coaster ride, and that's what it's kind of turned out to be early on. And Joe Milton has kind of benefited from it. The 25-year-old, 6'5", 235, everything prototypical with this guy, and an absolute boombasso, strong arm. Is he somebody we need to start worrying about in the MBL?
I think this year is going to be more of a figure it out year. See what he can do, what he can't do. I think that Rams team is a year away. They're going to fight. They'll fight for that 7th seed, but I don't think there'll be any serious consideration until next year to actually represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.
All right, let's go ahead and move forward. This is actually called Quibble Tells the Truth segment here on the MBL Network. We're going to hit the horn for that. And this is the Quibble Tells the Truth segment. Who are we talking about today? Quarterback, New York Jets, number 10. I'll let you say his name, and you're going to tell me what's going on.
Man, you just want me to go after a quarterback that just got traded. But I guess the question is, what's really going on with Bryce Young? He's got 17 interceptions already through 5 games. Last season, when he was with Carolina, he only had 16. Granted, the Jets are still 4-1. I think 4-1, maybe 3-1. But at the end of the day, when you get to the playoff time, you can't be turning over the ball. I'm hoping that coaching staff is just kind of pushing the ball downfield, pushing it in tight windows, telling them to take those risks. You just got to hope those habits don't become bad habits.
17 interceptions through 5 games. Has yet to produce a positive touchdown to interception ratio in a game. He's still on the season, 16 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. You see a completion percentage that's just bouncing everywhere. You don't usually see this. Look, 63%, 55%, 75, 76, and then 52% versus the Cleveland Browns, who were stingy. Cleveland ran for 100+ on this team. If you add Nick Chubb and then Alvin Kamara, they were absolutely phenomenal on the ground and pound. Young team over there, they're starting Parker Neal at the quarterback position, 20-14. You expect the Jets, this is a playoff team. They're saying, we're going to win 12 games, and we're going to throw a lot of picks. That's just what's going to happen. Get used to it. Bryce Young, he's only 24 years old. He's going to figure it out. I'm saying, the Cleveland Browns gave them a game today. He was 13-25. He threw for 52%. He was 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, got sacked twice, and posted his second lowest QBR of the season at 84. Any concern for Bryce Young? I mean, they are coming away with these wins, but you just have to think a formidable opponent comes up here. Even the Baltimore Ravens was a close game. In Baltimore, we know they're up and down, but they're a playoff team. They got hot during the playoffs last season, kind of coast through the regular season when the division might be their staple, might be their MO. But how confident can you be with Bryce Young at quarterback if you're a Jets fan?
I mean, he made the playoffs last year with a weaker roster with Carolina. He's still 4-1 here. I think just from that Cleveland game, they lost their left tackle early on, and then they lost their receiver, I believe, Moore. So I mean, he didn't have his full weapons. I mean, a lot of that offense is a lot of underneath. Cleveland can play man and just play the best of you. Everyone knows that they're going to go all underneath and maybe take their shots deep every once in a while. I think the coaching staff is going to get everything corrected, though.
All right, let's talk about the schedule for this week. We got
I got one more addition for what is this segment called? Not the truth segment.
Is Quibble Tells the Truth. We're gonna get a graphic for this and everything, and it's gonna get a lot worse. What else you got to talk about? A lot worse. It's gonna get get worse in the sense of the topic, the player we're talking about. It isn't going to be a good thing to be on Quibble Tells the Truth. Maybe it will be sometime.
This is a good thing. This is a good thing.
So we're already starting with the good thing. All right, let's go.
We got the bad, I guess, of Bryce Young, and then let's talk about Josh Allen. He's having quite a resurgence this year. His division rival up in Buffalo. Last season, he threw like 38 picks and only had 37 touchdowns, 4,000 yards, give or take. Through 5 games, Josh Allen's just under 2,000 yards. He's already got 19 touchdowns, which leads the league, and he's only thrown 10 picks. He's taking care of the ball, and ultimately they're 4-1. So they're fighting for that division.
He's taking care of the ball, and he's carrying this team on offense. They're top 6. They're averaging 36 points per game. Their defense is only giving up 27. I'm not a math whiz, but that's a +9 differential. Passing attack #1 in the league as far as yards go. They're moving the ball up and down the field. They're sitting at 4-1. Neon Sports got them ranked 6 in the MBL. And the rushing attack is giving them nothing. It's giving them absolutely nothing, Quibble. This is a team being carried by Josh Allen. How long do you see this going on?
I think it can go all season. He's proven that he's not going to turn over the ball. I mean, if a team just goes all out on the pass, he can still beat you with the legs. I think they should be able to fight for that division title. Miami's not looking so hot. I think they're 1-4, 1-5. I saw Tua play last time. He missed Tyreek Hill open like twice on deep balls. So it seems there would be a little regression there now that they're not in the bright lights of BTF. I think it's going to be a two-team race for the AFC East between Buffalo and the Jets.
Let everyone know we are live in the chat, guys. We got some good stuff coming up towards the end of this chat. Also, an update on that Jets-Browns game. It went into overtime. Interception in overtime cost the Browns the game. Browns had the ball to win the game in overtime versus the Jets. Jets say, hey, we're going to win 11, 12 games. We're going to throw a lot of interceptions. On pace right now for 60 picks, for 59 touchdowns and 60 interceptions. That's the pace. We'll talk back about Bryce Young and that Panthers trade in a little bit later, but all glory to Josh Allen. Absolutely off to a phenomenal start. Buffalo, they're going to be exciting to watch, aren't they? Have you checked out any Buffalo games? They are a fun team to watch. They're explosive. They attack some more, they attack again, and they just really know how to drive the ball down the field. The only problem is they got a loss to the Jets already on their record right now. They're sitting at 4-1. They're trying to win that division, so those divisional games are going to be real important as the season progresses.
I mean, that Jets game was pretty interesting to watch. I did get to watch that one. Jets ended up scoring a game-winning touchdown with like maybe 3 seconds left off a broken coverage. So Buffalo was right there, so they can compete with them.
All right, I'm going to catch them on chat just a little bit right now. Cougs in the chat saying McGriddles are better than McMuffins. I'm a big McMuffin guy. They call me Big McMuffin right now. That's my body type, I think.
Big McMuffin.
Right now, yeah, it's been pretty bad as of late. Still loving the McMuffins, not blaming them for anything. They're going to keep coming down the gullet. Now, McMuffins versus McGriddles. What are the thoughts in the chat? Quibble. This is still, we're on Tell the Truth segment. You already boosted up Josh Allen. You raised some concerns for Bryce Young. Now I want you to tell the world, McMuffins or McGriddles.
Ooh.
If you think about it, I'm getting a little worried here.
I guess McGriddles, because isn't that like something with syrup and some shit, right? Like I don't really eat McDonald's breakfast. I don't eat McDonald's breakfast.
Quibble.
I'll have my oatmeal.
Sponsored by me. I'm gonna send you $15 before our next episode, and you're going to get yourself a McGriddle and a McMuffin, and you're going to try them, and you're going to tell me which one's better. Deal or what? Can we do that?
But then I'll end up on the toilet like you all the time.
Well, I mean, we don't call it that. We call it the throne, man. You got a purse when you go in there? Are you walking in there like a real man into his throne? That's where I do a lot of my business for the MBL anyways. Actually, if I could be sitting on there right now, handling some business, watching this, I might be doing that too, but not the case right now. Let's go ahead and move forward. We're out of Quibble Tells the Truth segment. We'll have a graphic for that next time. This was the first iteration of it. We talked Josh Allen, we talked Bryce Young, and we talked a little food game. Quibble just, he's got to get his food game right, and I'm not really trusting that. I don't like what I'm hearing. Camaraderie's getting a little worried. Looking ahead, Week 6 games. We're going to go to the Week 6 schedule here, and we're going to talk about some of these games. Let's pull them up right here. First game on the docket that we're going to talk about, Bears versus the Cowboys. That's in Week 6. How do you see that game going?
Oh, that's going to be a good one. Did the Cowboys just win this week? I know the Bears always have a really good defense. It seems that Caleb Williams is really kind of putting it together this season. He had a slow start last year and kind of made it on.
Cowboys off to a slow start. We're gonna get this game on. We're gonna get it on BTF.
Yeah, it'll be our
BTF,
right?
We got to debut BTF, and that's on me, guys. T-Jax has done a phenomenal job. That's on me. I got to get that game out. I just the election and all this stuff. Excuses, right? 2-3. We're still going to do about 6 games in the regular season. Cowboys sitting at 2-3 right now, coming off a loss. First win of the season there for the Green Bay Packers. Shout out to Jordan Love. Marshawn Lloyd actually attempted a pass today for -5 yards. You've seen this halfback pass, tight end pass. We've seen Musgrave. Not much success in Green Bay with it, but they're trying these trick plays. They're trying to get something going. They were 0-4, got their first victory today, and Marshawn Lloyd, the very talented halfback, young, for Green Bay and wanted around the league. I even heard, I don't like to say these rumors, I'm going to hit the horn on this, but I heard the Baltimore Ravens called the Green Bay Packers about Marshawn Lloyd. Nothing really came of it, but that just shows you the talent there because the Baltimore Ravens, they're going to run the ball. And if they see something in Marshawn Lloyd, then I see something in Marshawn Lloyd. And Marshawn Lloyd, 22 carries, 146 yards, carried this team 23-7 over the Cowboys. And Dak Prescott had his worst game of the season with a touchdown and 5 interceptions. But we got Cowboys versus Bears, Week 6. How do you see that game going?
I think the Cowboys rebound. I don't think Dak's throwing 5 picks again. There's no way. Green Bay prides himself on defense. I mean, I guess so do the Bears, so maybe they could, but I think they're going to have a different game plan. I don't think they're going to push the ball down field as much. I think Javonte Williams is going to have a lot of touches, both coming from the flats and just running the ball. And it's ultimately going to come down to who doesn't turn over the ball. I think Caleb Williams might throw a couple picks just because he's going to have that internal clock going faster with Micah Parsons all out after him. So I see the Cowboys getting back to 500.
Cowboys getting back to 500 with a victory over the Bears. This is a prediction from Quibble in Week 6. In the chat says, trying to send people McDonald's could be attempted murder. Hey, I'm sending him the money. He's going to make the free will to go grab the McDonald's that we're telling him. And if that just so happens, then, that rebuild that he's on is going to be good for somebody else. They come in. And speaking of that, Philadelphia versus the Commanders Week 6. We all know that one little loss that Philly always gets at the beginning of the year. It came from the Commanders this time. Commanders trying to do it again. How do you see that game going?
It's going to be an interesting game to watch. The Washington lost their quarterback. Seems like it's a repeating story. They lose their starting quarterback every year. So he's out for like 3 or 4 weeks, I believe. And they picked up a bum off the practice squad named Jordan Travis, the Jets. He had a pretty good game versus Miami, but Miami is not the same talent that Philly is. They barely got out of Philly with a victory. I see Philly just kind of taking control and going into Washington's house and winning by 2 scores.
Let's take a look at Jordan Travis for a second. We'll talk about him. As you see Philly on the board, they're on a 3-game winning streak, and they're going to go into Minnesota this week. That's going to be a tough game. Minnesota's been struggling as well. You got to think they're kind of in line for a dub, just like Green Bay was in line for a dub, and Green Bay was able to get one this week over the who'd they play here? Dallas Cowboys. We just talked about them. BTF Cowboys coming soon. We're going to debut them very, very, very soon in the next couple days, hopefully. Maybe after the weekend. TJ's like his weekends, and we'll figure that out. But, yeah, Minnesota, it seems like they're due for one. It's going to be a tough game for the Philadelphia Eagles this week. But they're coming off a big victory over the Carolina Panthers, 3 in a row. And then they'll be heading to Washington. Washington beat them in Philly. So Philly's trying to get that back, get a little revenge game going. But let's talk about Jordan Davis just for a second. He was brought in by Washington. This is a guy that played for the Jets last season, right? What do the Jets got at quarterback right now? And Quibble tells the truth. We talked about Bryce Young's touchdown to interception.
You got Jordan
ratio.
Travis.
Yeah, and Jordan
You
Travis.
got Jordan Travis.
And
you got Jordan Travis.
Go ahead.
So you got Jordan Travis. He had a pretty good game versus Miami. he might be the stopgap. He might end up being the starter. Who knows? He had a pretty promising first game versus Miami.
What I wanted to bring up was how the Jets let him go without thought, and they knew they needed a quarterback, and they brought in Bryce Young, who didn't play particularly well last season, was injured last season. They gave up a haul for him. He's still not playing particularly well. So if they evaluated Jordan Travis and said he's not our guy, but they evaluated Bryce Young and said he's our guy. It just makes me wonder, either the Jets don't know what they're doing at the quarterback position, do not know how to evaluate quarterbacks, or Jordan Travis is going to be much worse as his career goes on than what we're seeing from Bryce Young right now, which we'll find out. He's going to be starting, right, week 6 versus the Philadelphia Eagles, and he already is coming off a pretty good game. So the Jets might have another topic here next week about why they let Jordan Travis go and gave a haul for Bryce Young to the Carolina Panthers. Let's move forward. Week 6 action. We got the Quibble. It's going to talk about this one. Vikings versus the Lions. Lions going to take on the Ravens, who are 2-2 this week. Lions sitting at 4-0. They're going to take on Baltimore this week, and then the next week, division game. Vikings, Lions, two teams that were atop the division. Lions finished at 15-2, 14-3 for the Vikings. Vikings were swept by the Lions, but Vikings did something in the playoffs nobody really even talked about. We didn't talk about it. Vikings went completely insane in the playoffs, knocked everybody off, went to the Super Bowl, played the Los Angeles Chargers, the aforementioned absolute dominating team of our intro to our show, right? We talk about Chargers almost all the time. Quibble's tired of it. But they gave them a nice little run in that first half, couldn't hold on. Vikings off to a slow start now, but Vikings, Lions, how do you see it week 6?
I see the Lions taking that victory. I think Vikings are going to have a tough time versus Philly this week. They've lost 3 games pretty much last second. Yeah, I think that Super Bowl hangover is coming to them. I think a lot of teams kind of saw what they wanted to do and are taking that away. J.J. McCarthy's not having as great of a season as he did before. And really, ultimately, the Lions are rolling. They got Anthony Richardson back there at quarterback. So it's a new look Detroit. And they didn't win last year. So I'm expecting Detroit to take that victory.
Yeah, let's take a look at J.J. McCarthy just real quick. Well, let's take a look at his career stats. He's 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions to start this season. Last year, QBR was actually a little lower than it is right now. Season still hasn't really got off the ground yet, but his completion percentage is up. His touchdown to interceptions, he's 6-4. We'll see how that pans out. Already with 6 sacks this season, but his QB ratings 115. Last year was 112. But we know they kind of hit a tough wall last season towards about the middle, but then they finished so strong. McCarthy, maybe statistically slightly better, but dominance on the field. The 22-year-old, it just hasn't been there. We haven't seen it come together as far as wins go. Their offense coming right now as far as, week 4? We're currently in week 4, week 5. We're in week 5 right now. Their offense is passing game, 21st in the league. Top 5 rushing game, but 25 points per game, but their defense is giving up 26. So this was a team scoring in the 30s last season, and a good defensive team, and a great offense that could drive the ball and hold it and get you with that clock management. Right now, not really seeing it, but yeah, it's still early in the season, sitting at 1-3, nothing's lost yet. Let's move forward. Quibble, Panthers, Falcons, week 6 action. What are we going to see here?
I mean, this is the first real test, or I guess the second real test for Jordan Peterson, the rookie sensation out of Carolina. He's going against the previous rookie sensation of Michael Penix Jr. Penix himself has gotten rid of the turnover problem. I think he's only thrown 1 pick this year. He doesn't have as much of the load on him for the offense. They seem to be a little bit more balanced attack, kind of just really making the game simple and relying on the defense to keep these games close. I think since the Falcons are home, they're going to get that victory. They just had a pretty good victory week 4 versus the Vikings.
Yep. Atlanta's sitting at 3-1 right now. And you talked about Penix not throwing the interceptions. He's also not throwing many touchdowns. Only 4 touchdowns through 4 games. Their passing attack ranks 25th in the league, 863 yards. But their pass defense ranks 1st in the league. They're only giving up 20 points per game, only scoring 22. So the offense has been a little bit less aggressive, maybe more ball control this season, right? And let the defense
that
really
rookie
put the
Brian
clamps.
Smith is having a great year.
Yeah, he's averaging 5.8 yards per touch per carry there. He's got 2 carries over 20 plus and 6 touchdowns in just 4 games. Impressive stuff from the youngster, 74 attempts, 435 yards, and they got the number 3 rushing attack in the league. And Penix has helped out a little bit with that too, 64 yards on just 7 attempts. I like what I see. Brian Smith, he's been a 3-down back for Atlanta. You think this is the real deal? They're going to stay with this guy. Bijan Robinson, no longer Atlanta Falcon. Is Brian Smith the answer?
I think they think he is. I mean, there's a lot of weird looks going around the league when they traded Bijan Robinson away. It seems like they knew what they were doing. They got a rookie that they're going to have on a rookie contract with their quarterback, and they can kind of just really attack free agency next year and just really just have a good squad.
Yeah, Brian Smith was the rookie. He's 5'9", 204 pounds, drafted in the 5th round. We're seeing a lot of stud running backs and quarterbacks and wide receivers come from these late rounds. Everyone's trading these late round draft picks, but they're having a lot of success on the field. Quibble, he was a 5th round pick, 17th overall. That means he was a round and 2 picks shy of John Peterson, selected by the Carolina Panthers. But this guy's got blazing speed out of Auburn. He's got the J-U ice. The juice is what we talked about in bonus coverage usually, and now we're bringing it on here. 3-down back, can do it all. DIA halfback, only 22 years old. We'll continue to follow Brian Smith and the Atlanta Falcons as our show progresses. Let's move forward again. Week 6 action. So you take Panthers, or did you take the Falcons?
I think the Falcons take it because they're home.
2-game losing streak is what Quibble's predicting for the Carolina Panthers. John Peterson, I'm going Panthers, and I know I'm not usually throwing my name out there and trying to make some kind of prediction here, but I just don't see John Peterson posting bad stats again. But if he does, if they do struggle and he does lose to Atlanta, that's a loss to Philly, loss to Atlanta versus 2 of the best teams they played. Then we're going to be talking about John Peterson as really a starting quarterback in the league. Gave him praise this time, might not be praise next time. Ravens versus Steelers. Steelers got him the first time by a little bit. Baltimore, an aging Derrick Henry, struggling to run the ball. Steelers, Justin Fields, all over the place. Touchdowns, interceptions, all high. Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. Inconsistent play from both teams so far. Who do you got edging out this team? Think Ravens can knot up the season series at 1-1 here in Week 6 coming up?
I think the Ravens take the victory. They're home. The Steelers just came off a really, really bad loss versus Buffalo. Buffalo kind of just went all the way down the field. They could pass whatever. I think there's going to be an overcorrection by the Steelers. And because of that overcorrection, Baltimore is going to get that extra 1 or 2 turnovers to just really take the game.
Pittsburgh sitting at 4-1. Baltimore 2-2. These teams played earlier in the season. We'll show it on the screen for you there. 27-24. Steelers defeated the Baltimore Ravens, but you got Baltimore winning this game and evening it up. Fields on the day was 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Lamar 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Lamar did run for 52 yards, had a long of 37. Fields had a long of 14 for 33 yards. Jalen Warren and Derrick Henry, both of them, sub 35 yards in the game, so not much running attack. Brian Robinson Jr., the former Washington Commander, has to get going there for Baltimore as well, as he's been a spell back here. Maybe half and half for him and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry has definitely slowed down a little bit, but you got Baltimore winning it. Who do you got winning this division by chance?
Oh, I got to remember who's in this division.
You got the Ravens. The Ravens won it last year. You got the Ravens, the Browns, the Steelers, and the Bengals.
I think the Ravens take the division again. Steelers came off a hot start, but the Ravens, I mean, they're battle tested. They're going to lock it down near the middle and end of the season. I mean, there's a reason why they went to the AFC Championship game. Weren't they the team, the other team versus Chargers? And, you know, they might just do a little headhunting versus Steelers. And, you know, maybe Fields gets a little bruised up.
We'll see what can happen. And that does it for our Week 6. Looking ahead, checking out some games from a future week. We're going to do that every time here on the show as well. Fantasy football update. Just a quick blurb from Quibble here. We can incorporate this more as we go on with our podcast. We're going to have more fantasy football stuff, but we know Quibble, our man here, he is running the fantasy football. What's going on with fantasy football? Give our guys an update. I think we have a 10-man.
Yeah, we have a 10-man league. Things have been a little rocky.
This isn't fantasy football from the NFL. This is a full immersive fantasy football. This is from the MBL. So our commissioner of our fantasy football league is Quibble. For those following along or not understanding, we're drafting our league. You can't draft your own players from your own team, obviously. And you get, I think we drafted five players. 4 of them can start. You got a quarterback, a halfback, a receiver, and a flex, and then you have 1 bench player. Also, there's a waiver wire and all that good stuff. But Quibble, go ahead and give us our fantasy football update of the week.
Yeah, I've been a pretty terrible commissioner lately. So obviously I started a new job this week, and I've been having some issues with the data that Neon likes to export, or I guess the Madden Companion app. Some of it's changed. So I've been working through the code, and there should be results posted this Friday evening, and then within 24 hours going forward. And then for this podcast specifically, we're going to have some information about the top players and, waiver wire pickups and anything like that that may be of interest to the league.
Absolutely, and we'll keep an eye on that. We're gonna have some fantasy football segment in our show. We'll have a graphic for that coming up as well. If JB's watching, get started on that fantasy football and that Quibble tells the truth. The truth segment is what we're gonna call it. Also, expect it's week-to-week games. It's not just scoring every week. So you play an opponent. That's how we're setting up our fantasy football. If you're interested in being part of this for the next season, go ahead and reach out to Quibble. I believe Playa's already going to be part of that for MBL season 59. And we have one more. We'll be at 12. We could do 14. That would be our max, and it just depends on the interest. Right now we're running 10 guys, and there is a prize for the winner at the end, so it's something cool you could be a part of, and it could help with your participation as well, which we will have a new participation announcement coming from our commissioner ISO in the next coming days as well. I want to shout out everybody in the chat: Cougs, Flair, Redemption's in the building, Big Sal, ISO, and who else left a comment in here? JB. So appreciate it, Cougs. All right, let's move forward. Power rankings. I'm going to do the AFC, my top 5 teams. Quibble's going to do his NFC top 5 teams, and then Quibble's going to give us the MBL top 5 power rankings. I'll start mine off in the AFC. Give Quibble a little bit of time to rally this, because this is on the fly, what I'm giving him right now. He gives me information. I just switch it up on the fly and make him do something a little different. Let's go ahead and move forward. I got Los Angeles Chargers at 4-1 as my number 1 team in the AFC. You're going to say, God, can you stop talking about the Chargers? They lost to the Texans. Texans should be number 1. And not in my book. Texans aren't number 1. They are 4-0. They're not number 1, but they're number 2. Chargers, I got number 1 at 4-1 in the AFC. Number 2, I got the Houston Texans at 4-0. Kansas City Chiefs fall in line at the number 3 spot, 3-1. Then I have the Pittsburgh Steelers at 4-1, and the the Buffalo Bills and New York Jets are sharing that 5 spot at 4-1. I know you're going to say the Jets beat the Bills, but I don't like what the Jets are doing. I don't like the lack of ball control. And as Quibble said in his truth segment, Josh Allen is playing absolutely great, and I'm behind that, and he looks good. So I got the Jets, Bills tied for that 5th spot. At the 4th spot, I got the Pittsburgh Steelers. 3rd spot, I got the Kansas City Chiefs at 3-1. Houston Texans 4-0. They're the number 2 team in the AFC, and number 1 is always the team to beat the Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Chargers, led by Justin Herbert. They got Drake London. They got the speedy guy at halfback. You already know his name. And defensively, they're not even playing where they were last year, so I expect that to improve, and this team's going to get more dangerous. Let's go to the NFC. Who do you got?
All right, so you want the NFC first, right?
Yeah, I already did AFC. So you do
I'll give you
NFC,
the
and then
NFC.
you do MBL as a whole.
Sure. All
And
right.
these are
let's do
Quibbles.
it.
So when he does MBL, he's not going to be in the same order as my AFC teams. This is his own ideas, and we're kind of going through what Quibble believes and thinks, as he's doing a lot of research here on the 360 pod.
Yeah, all the research on the fly. So NFC, I think the Eagles are still the best team in the NFC. They didn't have the end goal result they wanted in the playoffs, but they have the most talented roster, and their coach proves that they can get it done when it matters. Second team, I guess, would be the Lions. They're 4-0. They're technically the top of the NFC, but I think they're going to have a little struggle bus somewhere in the middle. Falcons, they did well last year. They won the division for the NFC North, or not North, South, and then the Panthers would be right behind them at 4. And then a brand new team that kind of didn't make the playoffs was the number 1 draft pick that they traded away. Jaden Daniels is out there now, so I have Seattle as the 5th best team.
And you're going to piss off
NFC.
the Niners fans here, and here's why. The Niners fans are constantly telling you how they lost every game, right? It's always this, it's always this, it's always one thing, it's always one thing. The Niners think they're going to win the division. You're saying Seattle's going to win it this time. The Rams, Joe Milton, we talked about him in the Truth segment as a positive. He's the starting quarterback for the Rams. But you got Seattle ranked at number 5 here in the power rankings. What put them ahead of San Francisco and the Rams for you?
I just think it's the quality of the games they've played. They had a tight one with Atlanta, which they ended up losing. They took care of business with Tennessee, and I think their big test is going to be Week 5 versus Carolina. I think they win that game, and if they win that game, they're kind of grooving, and they've kind of been proven to be battle tested there. A lot of games last year, they didn't have a quarterback; they were just struggling. They were doing pretty well defensively, but the quarterback just wasn't doing the play. Right now, Jaden Daniels isn't doing the greatest in terms of like putting up stats, but that defense is like 1 or 2 in the league right now. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I think there's more.
The upgrade at quarterback has them at 3-1. I want to give a quick response to Niners fan in the chat. Niners think they're winning? Question mark. They do. LOL. Niners are 2-2. That's not winning. That's 500 ball. They're the 21st ranked offense, 28 passing game, 22nd rushing game. They do have the 7th best rushing defense and the 6th best rush pass defense, and they are 5th in points allowed, giving up just 22, but they're only scoring 25. That's 500 ball at best right there. Seattle's just doing a little bit better as far as point differential between what they're giving up and what they're scoring, and that quarterback play has been, I think, the difference in going to make the Seattle team a division winner this year. San Francisco probably has other plans, but are we really listening to San Francisco right now? Everything with San Francisco, as we said, their fan base. Everything has a reason. Everything is not as it seems, but they are 2-2, and I do respect the San Francisco 49ers, don't get me wrong. But I just don't think they're better than the Seattle Seahawks right now. I'm with you on this one, but I can see San Francisco making the playoffs.
They might. I think they end up.
Quibbles, that's a true segment. That's a true segment for next time. We'll save it because the Niners are going to have a lot of rebuttals on this one. Let's move forward. Top 5 in the MBL. Go for it.
Oh, the top 5 in the MBL. Oh, you want to start at 5 or 1 this time?
We'll start at 5.
We'll start at 5. I think we have a new addition. The Buffalo Bills. No one circles the wagon like those Bills fans. And Josh Allen's brought them all the way back up to the top.
Hey, and I got to give a shout out right now. Not just Josh Allen. Curtis mother effing Samuel. Going off to a hot start. He was our AFC Offensive Player of the Week last week. 7 catches, $165, 2 touchdowns, all in a day's work. And he's the receiving leader in the NBL right now. He played 5 games. He's got 720 yards, 11 touchdowns. My gosh, he is absolutely balling. The second in touchdowns right now, Jamison Williams for Detroit Lions at 8. And then it goes all the way to Devontae Jennings with 6 for the Indianapolis Colts. We know he's a rookie, and he's cooking there for Indianapolis. Shout out to Jennings, Hendon Hooker to Jennings. That's been a staple of that Colts offense early in this season. But you got Bills at 5, NBL top 5. Where else are we at?
We got Lions at 4. I think they're the only undefeated team in the NFC, but they are getting the 4th spot for me.
4 seed, the Detroit Lions. Point differential in the game so far, Detroit Lions averaging 37, giving up 18. The defense has been good, hasn't really been tested. We're going to find out. Baltimore is going to try to slow them down this week 5 action, as Baltimore heads to Ford Field to take on the Detroit Lions. All right, who do we got at 3?
3, we got the Eagles. They got a 10-point differential. They're scoring almost 40 points a game. They had that one hiccup week 1, but they always start a little bit slow. They're definitely one of the more talented rosters in the league. There's no reason why they shouldn't be the top NFC team.
Yeah, only concern with the Eagles right now is pass defense, but what they did to John Peterson this last week gives me hope if I'm an Eagles fan. Eagles sitting at 3-1. Not hope necessarily, but it gives me that conviction I need to tell everybody around the NBA, around the MBL, that the Eagles are a Super Bowl contender this year. They're sitting at 3-1, and yeah, they're scoring 39 points per game. That's atop the league, and they're only giving up 29. 39 to 29. I'm not a math major, neither is Quibble, but 10 points seems like a good deal to win by. It looks like the Eagles might be heating up.
Yeah, and they're on historic pace to have one of the best rushing defenses too. Only 200 yards, or 220. So I guess, if they're going to give up a lot of passing yards, is it because they're always behind and that defense is just like going to prevent mode and just letting you lose time, or what's going on there? Who really knows? As the end of the day, they're 3-1. I expect them to be 4-1 going into that matchup versus Washington week 6.
All right, let's move forward.
All right.
We got number 2.
Number 2, I got the Houston Texans. The only team to beat the Chargers this cycle. Quality team. They wrap up, make their tackles, or limit the yak. We've talked all about them earlier. I think they deserve their props. They just got to keep it up. And you know, the AFC's got another contender now.
Number 2, he's got who I had number 2 in the AFC, the Houston Texans, 4-0, one of the 2 remaining undefeated teams in the league, and they got a big victory against the Chargers on their belt, which some could say that's better than what Detroit's got over there at 4-0, and that's what you're saying. Using that 4-0, they defeated the Chargers. Who do you have at number 1? And we all know who's going to be you're going to reluctantly say this team. I have a feeling we talk about them so much. Who do you got number 1?
It's still got to be the San Diego Chargers.
Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, the Los Angeles Chargers. It's still got to be them. They had one slip-up game. I think if they met again in the playoffs, it's probably a different story. I got to see the Chargers struggle some more to remove them from the 1. Right now, they're just the top team still to me.
Yeah, I like them. 38 points per game puts them number 3 in the league. You got the Lions, the Chargers, and the Philadelphia Eagles putting up a lot of points. But the defense for the Chargers, a little rocky right now. I think that's going to clean up. They're one of the worst pass defenses and one of the worst rush defenses. It's time for the defensive coordinator to get that defense together, maybe have a little meeting. I think they can definitely get down to top 15. They were the best defense in the league last year. It was between the Chargers and the Lions, and the Detroit Lions were at another tier underneath the Chargers. The Chargers were on a pace of their own. And then you had the Lions down there and everybody else, you know, it wasn't like a huge difference, just slightly ahead. But the Chargers were so great on the defensive side of the ball. But in the playoffs, the defense wasn't necessarily as dominant as they were during the season, and they still were winning games. That might be the situation moving forward. This offense is just that dominating, and they get ahead by a lot. Maybe at the end of the game, we're getting some of those trash buckets, as I like to call them, that maybe influx this defensive points allowed early in this season. But yeah, Chargers are my number 1 too. Love the Chargers.
Herbert's still doing amazing too. He's got 1 pick and like 13 touchdowns, 14 touchdowns. So he's on pace again to have another amazing season.
Yeah, that's a 13 touchdown, 1 interception. Does have 6 sacks. Kind of really on pace as last year. On pace for about 24 sacks this season. Had 26 last year. But he's on pace for 52 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. We'll see if he keeps that up. He had 48 touchdowns, 6 interceptions last season. And he's on pace for just shy of 6,000 yards, about 5,800 yards if my math does me correct. So he's definitely booming right now. And the defense, maybe the defense not holding teams to, you know, that sub 20 points per game might be the reason why we're going to get this Justin Herbert back-to-back MVP talk going shortly. We're going to go over some injuries, and then we're going to wrap up the show. Some things to talk about: right guard Teller and outside linebacker Owosu for the Cleveland Browns have been out. Cleveland went to overtime versus the Jets today. How much is this going to affect them? Owosu, their big pass rusher.
I mean, they're going to be out for, I think, like 2 weeks or 1 week for both of them. That's a big loss, especially on the offensive line.
Yeah, Wyatt Teller is a phenomenal right guard. Play. Let's not discredit Wyatt Teller here. An aged veteran, phenomenal guard for the Cleveland Browns, brings a lot of that veteran presence. They don't have that there. You think it's going to affect Chubb? They did run for over 100 yards this game, but what about Owosu? How great he is! Arguably the best defensive player on that team outside of Denzel Ward, maybe in the front 7.
Yeah, he's their X factor, or one of their X factors outside of Myles Garrett. He really kind of just makes it so you can't key in on Garrett. So that defense is definitely going to lose a crucial part. And something just to note, Teller, he went out during that game, and you know how they lost. They lost on a pick because there was pressure. So it came right through Teller's spot. You know, it's already affecting them once. You know, who knows how it's going to be for the next 2 games.
Brown sitting at 1-4, could have been 2-3 today. Just interception in overtime and a touchdown from the Jets that sealed it. Browns were in that game. Could have been an upset game against the New York Jets. Let's go ahead and move forward. Quarterback Ritter for the Washington Commanders. He's out 3 weeks. This is a familiar sighting in Washington. Last year, Daniel gets hurt. We see a quarterback carousel. Seeing it again in Washington. What's going on?
Yeah, something's just wrong with their offensive coordinator. They're just getting their guys killed there. I can see why they just traded Daniels away, because, you know, they can't keep their quarterbacks healthy. It's going to affect them. They're going to just have to grind out some games, rely on the run games, make the easy passes. But it's definitely not what they wanted going into the season. Once again, having to fight.
The New York Jets had a phenomenal draft. We're going to talk about some of these draft picks right now. They're on the screen. You see Dom Rhodes at the cornerback position, center Gregory Otten, Another one, middle linebacker, Dimitri Nelson. These are all rookie players here. Then you have
Giants.
middle linebacker Eddie McDonald, defensive tackle Craig Thierry. Neighbors is a second-year player. You have a quarterback. Where's he at? Where's the quarterback? The young QB, Chris Woodard. This was another late round, I believe 7th round pick. He's a superstar in the league right now. He's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Tight end Brenton Strange. Also right tackle Sergio Benson. Watch out for him as he's going to be a talented player. Eddie McDonald, that middle linebacker position. Phenomenal draft. Brian Burns is out now 3 weeks. What do you think?
Yeah,
what's going on with the Giants?
I mean, it's a blessing and a curse. Brian Burns is going to be out, so they don't have that veteran leadership. But those young guys are going to have a chance to really kind of make their mark, see who takes a spot when Burns is back. They can kind of give a little more rotation because, young guys, they don't want to be on the field as much because they're just not used to the NFL style of play. So it's a good opportunity for them to rotate. And, one of them may be the opposite end of Burns for long term. And then, in dime packages and nickel packages, they can have some really good pressure.
And with the trade deadline coming up, look for the New York Giants to move Darius Slayton, Adoree Jackson, maybe in a package deal. If you're looking for a veteran bridge corner that can play that slot position, cornerback 3, cornerback 4. If you get injuries, Adoree Jackson, nice guy to have as far as depth goes, 29 years old, and we all know he's got the athleticism to stay with anybody. And Darius Slayton, another one, super athletic, 28-year-old wide receiver. He looks to be on the move with the New York Giants. I was thinking maybe a package with Slayton and Jackson could go far for the New York Giants. They're sitting at 1-3 right now. They're not blowing it up, but they got to start.
Yeah, they're looking to upgrade
games.
They're looking to upgrade their wide receivers. Actually, I've heard rumors about Jalen Hyatt and a draft pick to try to get a more quality guy out wide. They seem that they have their confidence in their quarterback. They just need a little bit more help to get on the ball.
And here's a real tough injury for the Seattle Seahawks. We talked about them being number 1 in their division right now. Niners didn't like it. Rams didn't like it. Joe Milton's playing great. The Niners are still, when they lose by a little. When they win by a little, they don't talk about it. You know how the Niners do it. But what's going on with Jackson Smith? For the Seattle Seahawks, I think they just announced him as, they just put him on the injury reserve. He lost him for what they believe the whole season, the entire season.
Yep, he's out. He's been placed on injured reserve. That's a big loss for them.
And they don't expect a comeback. There's no comeback from him right now.
No, there's no comeback. He'll be back next year, right? 15. Oh, I guess technically he could be Super Bowl. I think he's got 15. So I don't know if IR lets you come back in the Super Bowl week, but I'd imagine most of the NFC has something else to say about that.
All right, Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's missing a week. How's that going to affect this team's offensive attack?
Yeah, he had a huge season last year. I think he had maybe 17, 18 touchdowns. He was their big focal point on offense. He was really the only bright spot, or one of the only bright spots that back half of the season when they went on that losing streak. Hopefully, the Jags get somebody else, find a playmaker that they like for the week, and then just add another guy when he comes back. But yeah, he's their X factor. He's the guy that offense goes through. And it's going to be a big loss.
And he's already been playing, just not really off to the great start that you expected. Did have 2 catches for 82 in week 2, 3 catches for 89, but he's been sub 40 on the last other 2 weeks. Going to miss a week here. Does have 3 touchdowns. Expect him to pick it up. This is a speedster out of LSU, and man, he's got some juice. 6'3", and he's a speedy, on the go, can't catch him, deep route running, medium route running, got great release. He's going to be a stud, only 22 years old. Watch out for that LSU Tiger as he trying to define himself in the MBL, tries to define himself in the MBL as one of those top 10, top 5 wide receivers moving forward. We're going to keep an update on that as he's injured for a week. Another injury around the league, left tackle Tyron Smith. Wide receiver Moore, New York Jets. They're saying Moore being out is the reason why Bryce Young is playing a little bit of that Jameis Winston 500 touchdown to interception ball.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, Tyron Smith also being out is probably a big issue for them. Having a guy in your face, and Bryce Young isn't the biggest guy. That's definitely going to have it lead to some bad throws, and obviously now he leads the league in interceptions. So I mean, when they come back, I think they come back next week. I expect Bryce to hopefully limit the turnovers and continue on the winning.
Let's move forward. Green Bay coming off a big victory this week, but they lost wide receiver Wicks and Hopkins. 3 weeks for Wicks, 2 weeks for Hopkins. Not a lot of options at wide receiver. As you notice, the Panthers have what would be the best receiver for Green Bay. Not on Green Bay anymore. Was it Christian Watson? So,
yeah.
What is Green Bay going to do at wide receiver here?
Yeah, I think they're looking at the waiver wire just to see what's out there. They lost Hopkins for 3 weeks or 2 weeks, and they have Wicks gone for 3 weeks. They've been playing without Dobbs. I think he just came back this past week. They've I think the coaching staff believes in their scheme. They're going to put a little bit more reliance on the running game because that's what they want to do anyways. Jordan Love is going to make those big time throws when he needs to. I guess Jaden Reed, since he's their really big one. And then their tight ends, I think Musgrave is out there, and they're just going to rely on that defense. I'm hearing actually some rumors that the Green Bay Packers are looking to improve their defense a little bit more. That coaching staff really wants to build a strong defense. There could be some movement on that side of the ball coming forward before the trade deadline because they know they got to stop.
That's dangerous.
The Vikings and the Lions.
This is a solid defensive unit already in Green Bay. They didn't score an offensive touchdown this week. They defeated the Cowboys 23-7. Dak's 5 interceptions, 2 of them were pick sixes. So Dak Prescott put up more points for the defense and the offense this week, but I'm sure Dallas BTF will debut him. We'll get him back on the right track. Jordan Love was 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Marshawn Lloyd ran for 146 yards. You see it right there. I'll keep it a little highlighted there for you. No touchdowns. Notice no touchdowns here. Jaden Reed, 2 for 75. As you said, Romeo Doubs just came back, 2 for 43. One of their favorite targets, Luke Musgrave, not much after the catch for him. 2 catches, 23 yards. And then Wicks, who's going to be out now for 2 weeks, 2 catches, 13 yards. And the defense did it all as Edgerrin Cooper, the middle linebacker, he had 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, also 3 pass deflections. That means on 6 of Dak's passes, he had his hands on the ball. They kicked 3 field goals to get them to 23. Man, this defense has looked good. You're saying they're going to improve on defense even more, bring in some more people. This could be a dangerous Packers team as they're trying to fight off the Vikings and the Lions. And don't forget about the Chicago Bears. They're coming on as well. They're playing good. Shout out to the Bears. I'm going to hit the horn for them. We haven't talked about them today. And that does it for our update on the injured reserve. We're going to move now to the after show. Your teams, your topics, Quibble. Let's talk about the Bears just for a second. They're sitting pretty nice at 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, that offense has gotten way better. Caleb Williams is having a better year, if I recall correctly, from the games I was watching. They're taking care of the ball. They're like one of a mid-tier passing offense, which isn't normal for a Chicago Bear team. Defense is still as good as ever. They shut down that Packer offense 2 weeks ago. I think they play a rookie in Tampa Bay next week, so they should have some success there, and Caleb Williams doesn't have to do as much.
Caleb Williams, 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, a 121 QB rating, much better than last season. He's pushing that 70% completion percentage, about .33 infinitively near 70%, 69.67. DeAndre Swift, I've heard, I don't want to put this on the show, but I'm going to do it. I'm happy with DeAndre Swift's production so far. He's got 3 touchdowns, averaging 0.3 shy of 5 yards per carry, 40 attempts, $189. 42 is his long, 120 plus run. They just want more explosive runs. And I don't know if they have the halfback. Watch to see if Chicago, who's not a trade team, and they don't have an explosive halfback, maybe they get out of their bubble here and do something they're not usually accustomed to doing, right? And maybe they make a trade for the halfback.
Do we see a crazy trade in division?
Well, who do you think?
Who's the backup for the Green Bay Packers? You think they'll take a ransom for him?
Well, Marshawn Lloyd is starting now. Who is the
backup?
But
they got Josh Jacobs. He lost his starting spot. He's got 3 years left on his contract. They're paying him all this money. You know, is there an opportunity for the Bears to take the garbage out? So this
23 years old, Josh Jacobs still has tread on the tire. Marshawn Lloyd has become that 3-down back, only 24 years old. Maybe you could see that. I was talking to the Bears front office. They're looking for an explosive back, a back that can get down the field and make a man miss, get to that second level and take it to the house. but they also like those backs that can run over that second level and take it to the house. Josh Jacobs, he's got the ability to control the clock with him. He can get you big plays, and he can move the chains. He's a big-time chain mover, still only 27 years old. Well, we're going to keep an eye on that. That is not a bad trade proposal, and see what the Bears would do. And that's even if Packers would trade within the division. We don't even know that to be true as of yet either. Anything in the chat, McGriddle or McMuffin seems to be the topic so far. That's probably going to do it for the show. Quibble, you want to finish with anything else, any snippet to say, anything we're going to follow moving forward? We're going to have that Quibble Tells the Truth. We'll have a graphic for that. And then we'll also do a Building the Franchise Dallas Cowboys update as well. We'll have a graphic for that, as well as fantasy football update. And we are always going to try to take a look at injuries around the league as well. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. Quibble, final words, final thoughts.
Final words, final thoughts. I think the Bears also could reach out to the San Francisco 49ers. They got a running back in Isaac Grando. He's kind of just sitting behind CMC. He kind of fits that profile that the Bears want.
I got one more for you. Nick Chubb, Cleveland Browns, 90 yards today against the New York Jets. The Browns are blowing it up. The Browns are going to have the youngest team in football, and I want to say the best top 5 talented team in the MBL by the end of MBL season 60. They're going to be filled with a bunch of youth, a bunch of guys that are going to become superstars in this league, but they're going to get there right now and get these picks by trading some of these assets. Watch Nick Chubb could be on the move as well, and maybe to the Chicago Bears. I don't know. That wouldn't be a bad trade for them. My partners brought up a couple other teams, Josh Jacobs, and he just mentioned another halfback. So keep an eye on that. The Bears, DeAndre Swift, they're not happy with them, and that might become a topic for today to discuss. But your teams, your topics, we didn't get much in the chat from them. It seems like an hour is a little too long for the show. Podcast is over. We're in an hour and 4 minutes this time, Quibble, and that's about as much as I can handle of you. I'm going to have to see you next week.
Yeah, we'll have to cut this down to like 30, 40 minutes.
We're trying to do that, actually, but here we are. MBL 360 podcast for myself and Quibble. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time here on the MBL Network. And don't forget to give us a follow here on Twitch. And we're out.